Hello traders, John at StockBookie.com. Today we're going to look at Aapl, JPM, ExxonMobil, the real leaders that aren't leading actually. We're going to look at the daily, weekly, monthly time frames. We're going to use technical analysis here at StockBookie.com. So let's look at Aapl. We came right up into this trend line, which is the gap fill. We filled the gap, pulled back ever since. We're below the 50 or the 20 MA. Technically, it's still in a strong stance. Slightly bullish. We did come back into the 250 retrace from this pivot to this pivot, so that at this point is holding. If this gives away, I believe we're going to come right back into this trend line. Let's draw it a little bit further. But we're going to come right back into this trend line, and that will be a little bit of support as well. I still would like an upsloping trend line. These are a little bit weaker when these come into it, but it is an area of support. We will have the 382, this low pivot here where this gap fill was, right at say 104. And then we have the 200 moving average, the 50 MA. This is curling in the price if this falls down. So anywhere around 104 area, it's a great bounce area. You have some news coming up. I think September 7th, they have their meeting or whatever. You know, it's going to be the same old, same old. We made our devices smaller. We made a prettier color. We changed the glass on it, made it plastic. Gave it a better battery, and we gave it a new name, and now it's great again. You know, Aapl, I'm an Aapl guy, but man, come out with something good here, people. You know, that you're supposed to be the leader and the innovator, and I'm not quite sure where you're going with this. But looking at the charts, making a little umbrella top, coming back in, we haven't confirmed under the 20 MA, so we'll still have to see. But if we close below this window and then fill the gap, I think we're heading down into this area. If this doesn't hold, we're coming right back down to the 100 even number, and then we'll see how the markets are reacting, because everything's going to be a market trade. If the SPY, the Qs, the IWM, the DIA starts to dump, everything's going down. It's not going to matter. Weekly chart, we did get above the 50 MA. We are above this trend line, but on Friday we closed right on top, and today as well. This is a weekly close, so let's see if we could get below this. If you are bearish, you need to get below this trend line, below this 250 retrace, and then you're heading down to the 50 MA, which is 104. Good support area down in here, 104, 103. If you're bullish, you want to see it recapture this high around 110.36, and then ultimately get above the 112.33. If you do, you're coming right back into this area, which a lot of bag holders left in this area. Every time it goes up here, all these bag holders are dumping, getting the hell out of this thing. Comes right back in. Right here, though, we did make a lower low, but it came back in and made a higher low. So until it takes out these pivots, you know, when it starts coming in, if it does, you know, we're going to be watching for this area too. I'm going to just draw. We'll go halfway through the wick. But that you have the 20 MA and stuff like that. And this is the weekly, so we got to see where we close. If this thing closes below the 50 MA on the weekly, then I think we're on for some lower prices. Monthly, same thing. I still love this inside bar on the monthly. That's why I'm still bearish on Aapl. Until it gets above the 20 and this high pivot, I'm going to say right around 112.18, then ultimately around 115.40 or 96. This blue line here, which would be the 750 retrace. Until we get above this big red bar on a closing basis on the monthly, I still believe this one has lower prices. Earnings comes up in the next couple months. That could change everything. But the patterns are telling me lower. And again, one more thing. Markets are leading, all-time highs. Why isn't Aapl? It's a leader. Should be leading like the IWM and the IYT. We've been going over this stuff. Got to listen to this. JPM. Let's start with not leading. Why isn't this thing at all-time highs? It's barely scraping by here. Let's go to the daily chart on this one. It is breaking out, but we have a high pivot right here around 67.30. We almost got there, 67.10. Then you have this breakdown bar before this thing just got slapped with the rest of the market, and that's right around, I'm going to draw that one in. Let's see, let's put this one in here. I mean, that's where we went up today. I mean, that was at 63.07, so we pierced it by 7 cents and came back in. Closed at 66.95, so it's holding that area. But if you go up a little more, you have great resistance in this area. And ultimately, well, we closed above this. This is a daily. We had an inside bar, got above the bar. You know, it's a 50-50 shot. But if this thing starts to break down, we're heading right through this, right to the 50 MA. Tons of support in this area, and ultimately the 200 MA. This thing breaks up. Man, it doesn't have, you know, you got these big breakdown bars down here around 68, and then of course right around 68, 70, and then we'll play it from there. But good resistance up in this area. Again, leader lagging, making lower highs. This one actually recaptured it, so you have to give it a little bit of credit. So when it made the lower high here, it came back, retraced, got above it, so it's starting to make higher highs again, but we're going to keep an eye on this one. I still don't believe it. Again, we got above the trend line. We got above this high pivot here. Let's see if we can stay up there. This is a weekly chart, so we have to wait until Friday. Let's see if we can close above this little high pivot here. If we can do that, I want to see a little more volume and this thing start to push into this area, the 69.05. If it can't, I think we're reversing. We're going straight back down. We'll hit the trend line, moving averages. It will slowly stair step. If it goes up, you're looking for a recapture of this high on a closing basis on the weekly. And then you got to get above 69.05, and then possibly it could go for the all-time high, which is right around 70 bucks, 70.62 or so. Monthly chart still pretty much in a channel. You know, I'm going to draw that. You know, we got 2 days on that. But if we close above this line, which it looks like we're going to, if it closes above that line, I want to see confirmation. I want to see the next month above 68 bucks. Then I'm thinking this will go higher. But at this point, I'm still not a believer in this market's going up. There's just too many signals telling me that, you know, like this one, lagging. Apple's lagging. Right now, all the money makers are getting there. They're getting all the retail stocks running, all the turds running, and then of course you got the Teslas and stuff like that. They just run just because. But what happens when all these leaders like this are leading and getting all to the tops? You got to find stocks that are at bottoms, because these are what the money managers are getting into. If you could get into a Kohl's and that thing runs 20%, you're in and out. If you could get into the what were some of the other ones that were running? I honestly don't know. I had to look through the charts, but you get the ones that haven't been running, that have been beaten down. Now those are running, so that ends up pushing the markets. But the leaders aren't leading, just not good. And then ExxonMobil too. This one can't even get out of its own way. It really can't. It's trying, and look at this. This is just ugly bearish consolidation. We tried getting above. Well, no, it did get above the 20 MA here, but bearish consolidation, and you still have the 50 MA. You still have the gap fill. You still have the highs up here. Until it recaptures, I'd say, this gap window and gets the gap fill. Oh, actually, I'd be shorting that thing right there. It's a very simple trade, where right now it's just bearish. Let's look at the weekly. I mean, we went straight up, boom, bearish inside bar. We do have little tails. This thing's setting up to go lower. Look at that, bearish inside bar. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks of consolidation until it recaptures the 20 MA. It captures this line at 90.11. I still don't think. If it goes up into 95, I'm shorting this thing again. I'm short right now. I pulled off half. I've been just playing this one up and down. That's what you have to do. But again, the overall picture is not making new highs. ExxonMobil, the 4th largest company in the world, not making new highs. Not good. Monthly chart, same thing. We get above this 50 MA, 20 MA, pops up right into this big area around 94. Tries to make it up there again. Nice reversal. Now we're back below the 50 MA, making a little doji. It's still early in the week, so we don't know what the closing price is going to bring. Or actually, that's the monthly. That will close in 2 days, so we're going to know that. That will probably close below the 50 MA. And then we'll see if we could get some more follow-through coming in down here. You know, we're closed right here. We're still typically bullish. I mean, we're in between the 2 MAs. It's starting to go in an inside bar, but again, this is monthly. This is a bigger time frame. But ultimately, market sell, everything else goes. We're going to go down into this area and then possibly hit these low pivots. I would love to see it come into the 66, 67 area, or 67, 68 area. That would be great. Or 200 moving average, because the 200 moving average on this one, it's never touched it in the last couple of years. Eventually, it will have to come back in. That's just the nature of the beast. But again, those are the three leaders. These things should be leading the markets, and they're not. So that's another red flag, along with the IWM and the IYT not leading the pack. You have to keep an eye on stuff like that, because that's the stocks that are talking to us and saying, hey, this is not real. We're floating up on no volume on the SPY, and eventually this is going to end bad like every other time. 87, 2001, and then 2008. It's happened every time. People run the market. We're in a cycle. We're almost in our cycle that we could possibly see a downturn. Until then, just got to follow the charts. All right, everyone. Thanks for watching my videos. God bless. See you on the charts.